England in the 11th century was a land of tradition and tension, a kingdom shaped by centuries of Anglo-Saxon rule, deeply rooted in local customs and guided by powerful noble families. Yet beneath the surface, the realm was fragile, a patchwork of loyalties, rivalries, and political uncertainty. For decades, England had been ruled by Edward the Confessor, a deeply religious monarch with close ties to Normandy across the English Channel. Edward's reign was marked by relative peace, but his failure to produce an heir cast a long shadow over his legacy. As Edward grew older, the question of succession loomed large. Who would rule after him? And more importantly, who had the right to? Several powerful men believed they had a claim to the English throne, and within months, England would face not one, but three major contenders. When Edward died in January of 1066, it did not simply trigger a change in leadership. It unleashed a storm. Within a single year, England would face multiple invasions. Three kings would rise and fall, and one decisive battle would reshape the nation's future. The first to act was Harald Godwinson, the powerful Earl of Wessex and Edward's brother-in-law. On January 6th, just one day after Edward's death, Harold was crowned King of England. His claim was supported by the Witenagemot, the Council of Nobles, and he was seen by many in England as the most suitable choice. But his rapid coronation didn't go unnoticed across the Channel. In Normandy, William, Duke of Normandy, was preparing for war. William claimed that Edward had promised him the throne years earlier, and that Harold had even sworn an oath to support his claim. According to Norman sources, this oath had been taken under holy relics, making Harold's coronation not only a betrayal, but in William's eyes, an act of treachery that demanded justice. But William wasn't the only one with eyes on the English crown. In the north, Harald Hardrada, the Viking king of Norway, also put forward a claim. Based on an old agreement between previous kings, he believed he was entitled to the throne. He found an ally in Harold Godwinson's own brother Tostig, who had been exiled from England and now sought revenge. So in 1066, England faced a dual invasion. From the north came Hardrada and Tostig, and from the south, William of Normandy. Harald Godwinson now had to defend his crown on two fronts. On September 25, 1066, Harold marched his army north and met Hardrada and Tostig near York at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. The result was a crushing victory for Harold. Both Hardrada and Tostig were killed, and the Norwegian threat was eliminated. But Harold's triumph came at a cost. His army was exhausted, and just 3 days later, word arrived that William had landed in southern England at Pevensey Bay. Without delay, Harold turned his army south and marched over 250 miles in under 2 weeks. On October 14th, he met William near the town of Hastings. The two armies were roughly equal in size, but very different in composition. The Battle of Hastings lasted all day. Harold's men held a strong position on a ridge, and their shield wall withstood multiple Norman assaults. But late in the battle, a turning point came. According to the Bayeux Tapestry and Norman sources, William used a feigned retreat to break the English line. Then in the chaos, Harold was killed, likely struck by an arrow, though the exact details remain debated. With their king dead, the English army broke and fled. With the victory at Hastings, William didn't immediately become king. Resistance continued in parts of England, but he advanced cautiously, securing key towns and intimidating the nobility into submission. Eventually, the English leaders accepted the inevitable. On December 25, 1066, William was crowned King of England in Westminster Abbey. The Norman conquest was complete. With his coronation on Christmas Day in 1066, William, Duke of Normandy, became William the Conqueror, and with him the age of Norman rule in England had begun.